Hi there YouTube, my name is Simon and I create astrology, spirituality and life videos and post them on the internet. Firstly, welcome to my show. Thanks very much for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. It's truly appreciated. Today I'm going to be bringing part one of a series that I was quite inspired to actually do, to be honest, and it's called the Pluto Story. What's it all about? And I think it's kind of an interesting sort of discussion to have from an astrological point of view, and also just in general in terms of lots of information and some sort of like guidance as to what's actually taking place in the world today. Now, I think first off, before I go anywhere, I'd like to sort of share with you guys some information about the nature of our times. And, you know, honestly, the way that our reality is at this point in time is kind of daunting in some way, because we are going through many changes, many shifts. There's a lot of information out there that is about enlightenment and spiritual awakenings, and information about how the banking systems are changing and how the world is sort of like reinventing itself, and the polar shifts and all of this type of stuff. So there's loads and loads of information about different perspectives and such. And so what I would like to do today with this Pluto story is kind of bring the astrological reflection on to what is happening, and to try and sort of like give a really overall perspective of it, and so that we can sort of like find our place within this experience. So the Pluto story. So basically Pluto, the symbol of evolution, is transiting through the sign Capricorn, as you can see over there. So Capricorn is the sign, and Pluto, the evolution sign, is exactly what is taking place. So Pluto, the symbol, is moving through Capricorn, and Pluto represents evolution, okay, in the sense. And the dynamic that exists within Pluto, or the representation or the symbolism of Pluto, is one where we are changing fundamentally on a psychological level, okay, very deep, very bottom core, like the bottom essence of our existence is fundamentally changing whenever Pluto transits through a sign. And when we are experiencing Pluto in our lives, we're experiencing situations in which the old is basically dying. Everything is coming to the end, okay? And it's such a tragic experience in one way, because the experience of something that is ending relative to the human understanding is that we tend to sort of resist a lot of what change is taking place, and for very good reasons, of course. There's a lot of experiences within something that is ending that is, you know, for us as human beings, extremely traumatic. And, you know, just one example can be the passing of a family member, or just, you know, any for that matter. So Pluto in itself, through Capricorn, is the big story. It's the fundamental change that is taking place within our lives from 2008 up until 2024, okay? And this kind of experience is just one of the more greater cosmic experiences that are taking place within our universe. But in terms of going on to describe those type of things, that could take quite a lot of information and a lot of time, etc. So I want to sort of like keep it small, but it's not small when it comes to Pluto, because it is from 2008 up until 2004 a change within our consciousness. Okay, now when it's in the sign Capricorn, we're looking at the symbolism of structures, okay, and how those fundamentally exist within our reality, and then fundamentally reality. So Capricorn relates to the structures that exist, and it's Saturn ruled, so the information about that planet in itself, or that symbolism in itself, relates to Capricorn, and that relation then to the structures that exist within our consciousness. Now, I do actually have another video out called Saturn, or the Capricorn archetype, which actually explains a very deep and in-depth understanding of the nature of Capricorn and Saturn. So if you guys want to go check that out, I'll put the link over there for you, and that will give you a better understanding of what Capricorn is all about. But fundamentally, on one level, within our reality, how we see it, it is the structure of everything that exists within us, matter, form, etc. So in another way, Capricorn will also represent the sort of like systems that we have built ourselves, the ways in which we govern ourselves as well. Those all fall under the category of structure. So if you take Pluto, which you know about is evolution, you take the nature in which it goes about things, which is complete and utter ending of things, okay, you can see how all our financial structures, all our governmental structures, all our business structures, or any form of structure for that matter, schooling structure, anything that is represented through that is actually coming to an end. And how you're seeing this in reality is literally that on one level, the way we are approaching, looking at, and in any sort of way, integrating ourselves within the old structures feel uncomfortable, feel wrong, feel outdated. They are not sort of in line with who we are spiritually as a human race. And I think that's a really important thing to sort of embrace on one hand, that the nature of our structures specifically are being transformed through the nature of Pluto, or the symbolism, and it's about the end, okay? Which is why we're experiencing this on a very deep and unconscious level. We're experiencing the fabric of reality disappearing, like it's breaking, it's crumbling underneath us. And, you know, on one level, what I'm encouraging through this discussion is to understand the nature of what is happening and to sort of, in some way, shape, or form, find a sense of liberation through that process, that the old is being pulled out and the new is being sort of like reviewed. And that's what Pluto is about. As soon as Pluto takes away all the old stuff that exists, okay, all the old emotional baggage, all the old emotional systems, all the old ways in which things have been constructed and interwoven within our consciousness, it allows for the next process to take place, which is rebirth, okay, to literally have new to exist. And this is such a beautiful experience, and this is where the hope lies, and this is where a lot of the information about spiritual awakenings and understanding the dynamic within our consciousness. It is this period of time from 2008 up until 2024 where Pluto will be rummaging through all of this old stuff and pulling it apart and ripping it out, and etc., etc. And then you'll see that we'll get the opportunity for the new seeds of existence to take place. And these are the new children of today that are being born right now. These are the ones that carry the new seeds, okay, along with us as well. But we're sort of like still conditioned by our previous understandings. So there's a lot about what we are projecting into our reality that is still sort of in some way, shape, or form part of the past. Whereas the new seeds are the new children. So it's really important for us on one level to sort of encourage and understand and see the nature of our children that are being born with this Uranus Pluto square in their natal charts as the liberation factor, the new sort of seeds that are being grown. And that's exactly what's going to be happening over this period of time, this arc process. Evolution's taking place, Pluto, okay, things are ending relative to old structures and Capricorn nature, and new seeds of growth are being sort of like brought to the table. But of course the process is not like just 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of work that needs to take place. So a lot of what you're seeing in reality right now is a lot of information about our awakenings and spreading the love, and it's beginning at this point in time. You know, it's because we are now what's the word I can say? Reacting. We're reacting to the nature of Pluto's behavior through the constellation, and also, you know, reflecting back in on Earth as to how we are evolving as a species, and as Mother Gaia is also evolving. So to sort of bring this full circle in terms of the nature of our existence, Pluto in Capricorn relates from 2008 until 2024 as the totality of endings, okay, relative to this Capricorn archetype, to the structure archetype, to the governmental archetype, to the schools archetype, to the financial archetype, to the business archetype, and removing all the old patterns of conditioning that have been existing in our consciousness for such a long time. It's ripping it apart, and it's saying, right guys, now we're going to get the opportunity to reconstruct the nature of our ways of being, how we want to govern ourselves, how do we want to construct our realities, how do we want to construct our cities, etc., etc. And it's exciting, quite frankly, but it is also at the same time kind of like bumpy and sometimes extremely intense, you know, with regards to it. But it is literally our sort of like process, our passage through time, and it's about aligning ourselves with that process that can make that thing easier. Now, of course, this is happening in our personal lives as well, and this type of integration is also completely and utterly relative to our own souls, okay, that have incarnated at the time of birth that they did, for us to experience this transit. So a lot of our own sort of like spiritual work is associated with this Pluto transit in itself. It's not only just Earth and human race changing, but us as well. And there is that connectivity. There is that connectivity. So I think that's that sort of like clears it up there for you guys. There's the symbol Pluto that I spoke about. It is the big over-arc story. It's the totality of what is going on between 2008 and 2024. Of course, a lot of this is more about the Aquarius age that is starting to take place and the deconditioning associated with that, but that's for another discussion. What I have done for you guys is put a link in the description about the Capricorn archetype in itself. And I've also linked part 2, part 3, part 4 also in the description as well, so you guys can go have a look at that, because it carries on with the story that is taking place. So part 1 is about Pluto and the overall arc, and the next part will be about Uranus in Aries and its communication with Pluto and how this sort of puzzle piece is being put together. Until then, guys, thanks very much for taking the time to listen. I truly appreciate all the support and understanding. Hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the content that I've brought you. And if you're interested in understanding how this is working personally in your astrology chart in itself, come over to my site over there. There's the information on the bottom, and drop me an email or write down in the comments box. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for taking your time to listen. Have a great day. Bye.